People who didn't believe in ghosts but do now. What experience changed your mind? Once when I was in university I went to go see my therapist whom I had been seeing twice a week for about 5 months. On this day he was uncharacteristically quiet and I asked him if he was all right. He said he was fine, and we continued through what would be one of our most breakthrough sessions. A lot of repressed memories came up through it that have helped me to heal. At the end of the session, I asked him why he was acting differently today than other days. He said when I walked in I was accompanied by a warrior-like person. He said he had the overwhelming feeling to perform as best he professionally could that day, and that he got the sense this warrior had fought a lot of battles to protect me. This would seem coincidental, except that 10 years later I was living on the other side of the world. I had a Puerto Rican neighbor I would see occasionally and eventually got pretty close with him and his family. One day as I was walking by he kind of got quiet and weird and then said in broken English, "Do you know there is a soldier who follows you around?" I knew instantly who he was talking about. In both instances, the warrior/soldier was described the same, just over 6 feet, blonde curly hair, wearing primitive warrior clothing, and strangely, a white guy. Neither of these people could have known that my closest brother who passed away at 14 was over 6 feet tall with blonde curly hair, and always was my protector. I was 8 when my grandma died. I was sad. So around 2 months passed and I was going to grandma's house where my grandpa lives. So I woke up at 3 a.m. and heard footsteps from the bedroom door. I froze. I saw my grandma walking up to me and she said, "Hello little sweetie," and walked away. It was not sleep paralysis because I could move my hands and feet. At morning I told to my grandpa about it and he said, "I've seen grandma almost every night, she likes to visit, so don't be scared next time when you visit." My girlfriend's grandfather's ashes were on a little shelf in the living room, right next to a very solid/heavy angel statue. One weekend she and I are fooling around on the living room couch and out of the corner of my eye, I see the angel statue fly off the wall, accompanied with a deep grunt. Now when I say this thing flew off the wall, I'm talking 7 to 8 feet of air before landing on the hard wood and leaving a dent where the wing hit. Even if this thing had fell off the wall, it would have dropped straight down, not soared with force. Well, we both stood there in shock, and I whispered if she had heard the grunt as well, to which she agreed. So we both booked it for the day. That night at dinner we told her parents what happened, leaving out the naughty bit, and Megan's younger sister burst into tears saying she had seen a dark figure at the foot of her bed the last couple's nights but didn't want anyone to think she was crazy. Grandfather that died had mental health issues that caused a lot of pain. After that day I was a believer. Worked at a public pool, and I would work alone after hours cleaning the building and the pool. One night around 2 a.m. I'm cleaning the changing rooms. The pool has been closed for 4 hours at this time. I hear the sound of a child's laughter and bare feet running across the pool deck. I go out and scan the area. There's nobody in sight. The doors are all closed and locked. There is nowhere a kid could be hiding. No wet footprints on the pool deck. I rechecked the doors and the security monitors. I am the only person in the building. It was unsettling. Most of my family is extremely religious and believes in ghosts wholeheartedly. Most of them claim to have seen something paranormal at some point in their lives. I wasn't very religious, and I always thought to myself, if I haven't seen it, then it's not real. That changed during my senior year in high school. I was dog-sitting at my great-aunt's house while she was out of town for a few days. A little after midnight, I'm watching a movie and my aunt's dog starts barking like crazy and runs up the stairs at full speed. The dog was small, but fierce. Suddenly, I clear as day heard a gravelly voice at the top of the stairs say, "Bad doggy." The voice was deep and masculine. I went upstairs because I was certain nobody else was supposed to be there. I looked around and there was nobody in sight. The dog was still barking at something that I couldn't see. She was just barking at an empty hallway. That's when I heard footsteps walking away from us down the hall and into my aunt's bedroom. I could hear the footsteps, but I couldn't see anybody making them. I noped the fuck out of that house with the dog and went outside in my car. The dog and I slept there for the night. I'm not entirely sure WTF I experienced that night, but I definitely believe in the paranormal now. I never told my aunt about what happened, but apparently my great-uncle, her husband, had died in that house a few months after I was born. I never knew him, but I'm willing to bet that it was him who I heard that night. I was staying in the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado, the hotel that inspired Stephen King to write The Shining. Around 1 a.m., I heard what sounded like children running up and down the hallways interspersed with laughter. Opened the door to see what the hell was going on, and didn't see anything. Quick little buggers, I thought. Then the next morning when my significant other and I took a tour of the building, the guide stopped directly in front of our room to tell us the story of young girls whose ghosts can be heard running up and down that same hallway.
I was always on the fence about ghosts because there was no scientific evidence of them being real, and I was going through a big question phase with religion/afterlife at the time anyway. But my family moved into an old farmhouse when I was 12. This was a very old farmhouse with a build date around the Civil War. The original owner's name was still on the old barn out back, and we found numerous old antiques built into the walls when we completely renovated the place. A few odd and end things happened after we first moved in, but distinct things started happening to me after I turned 16. But never to my sister until after SHE turned 16 too. The most prominent memory I have. The upstairs consisted of 2 bedrooms. One bedroom was the room at the top of the stairs. The second bedroom was in a separate room just to the left of the top of the stairs. I had the private room, and my sister's room was the landing. When someone walked up the stairs it was very distinct. You could hear each individual step, and the creaks got louder as the person approaching got closer. So one night I am sitting on my bed watching TV or something, and I hear my sister come up the steps and go lay on her bed, so I start talking to her. When she doesn't answer me I get annoyed and go into her room to figure out what her problem is, only she is not in there. My mind was blown because I knew I heard her. I called for her and she had been downstairs the entire time. We never felt threatened. But it did seem that this entity liked picking only on women. Even my mother, who absolutely doesn't believe in ghosts, had to admit some odd things had happened. I think the funniest thing was having my ponytail pulled while I was doing the dishes. I don't know why it was so funny, it just cracked me up that whatever it was felt like playing with my hair. So my grandma used to live with me. She was in the room next to mine and would get up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom, which is in my room. There is a drop from her room to mine, so we put a night light outside the bathroom so she could see the way. It was like this for about 12 years. Only a few days after she had passed away, I was in my bed with my cat and dog reading a book or something. I remember my cat and dog both waking up and looking at the night light. My cat got up and went to the light, pawing at it and making noises. My dog just stayed still, not barking. I would grab him so he would calm down or go to sleep, but he never took his eyes off that spot. That's when I saw what I can only say looked like light bend around the night light. I was positive it was my grandma coming back to use the bathroom and or check on me and the house. To this day, she died about 5 years ago. I still have that night light there and turn it on every night for her. I haven't seen her or experienced anything like it again, but I'm sure she's still around.